Thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to this professional learning presentation on best practices for inclusion, setting the stage for successful learning environments, part 3. This is the final section of a 3-part series on best practices for inclusion. Our speakers will be myself, Nadia Kersey, and Jessica Losh. We are both child development consultants within the Inclusive Universal Pre-Kindergarten Office and the Early Education Division within the California Department of Education. Together, we will offer you creative ideas for setting up your classroom, along with practical modifications and accommodations. Our goal is to ensure the best possible experience for all children, with a special focus on supporting children with disabilities in the preschool environment. This presentation is designed for teachers, administrators, and support staff of the California State Preschool Program, or CSPP. However, the content is versatile and it can be applied to any early learning environment. Next up, we will review the agenda and then get started. Let's review today's agenda to outline our learning objectives for this presentation. By the end of this session, you will gain insights into how relationships and collaboration form the foundation of a high-quality inclusive program, and have knowledge of where to find some very useful web-based resources to support inclusion. We've discussed environments and transitions in the previous pre-recorded webinars, but one of the most crucial strategies in fostering inclusion is building relationships. This area is often overlooked, yet is equally important in creating an inclusive environment. Building strong relationships with children in early education settings is the foundation for learning, behavior support, and inclusion. For teachers and support staff, relationship building begins with creating emotional safety so children feel secure, valued, and accepted. This sense of safety is especially important for children with disabilities who may experience stress, uncertainty, or frequent correction. When adults are calm, consistent, and emotionally available, children are more likely to trust them and engage fully. Simple actions such as greeting children by name, getting down to eye level, and using a warm tone send the message that children belong and matter. Strong relationships are built by being present and attuned to each child. This involves observing how children communicate and interact through words, gestures, behavior, movement, or assistive supports, and responding thoughtfully to those cues. When adults follow a child's lead and join them in activities they enjoy, children learn that their interests and choices are respected. This is especially meaningful for children with disabilities, who may be frequently redirected, so shared positive interactions build trust and connection. Warm, respectful communication further strengthens relationships. Speaking directly to children, using their names, and maintaining a supportive tone helps children feel safe and valued. Speaking to children rather than about them, especially in front of peers, supports dignity and belonging. Relationship building also requires honoring individual differences. Children learn, move, regulate, and communicate in unique ways, and disabilities are a natural part of some children's identity. When adults openly accept and value these differences, children develop a positive self-identity. Consistency and reliability are essential to trust. Following through on routines and promises help children feel secure, particularly those who rely on structure. Finally, connecting before correcting strengthens relationships. Acknowledging feelings before addressing behavior helps children feel understood and supported. These everyday interactions, listening, noticing, and responding with care, create classrooms where all children feel safe, connected, and ready to learn. In inclusive classrooms, children are naturally curious and questions about disabilities will arise. Teachers and support staff should use everyday moments as intentional teaching opportunities, especially during play or group discussions. Teachers can respond calmly, honestly, and without discomfort, using clear and simple language that children can understand. For example, Max uses a walker to help his body move. Everyone gets help in different ways. It's important to help children see that differences aren't a normal part of being human and not something negative or scary. This aligns with the pyramid's emphasis on creating positive classroom climate where diversity is respected. Teachers can do this by modeling acceptance, labeling strengths, and avoiding language that suggests something is wrong. Teachers can intentionally highlight similarities, a key pyramid strategy for building belonging. For example, Ava and Jordan both love building towers, or we all like playing outside and singing together. This reinforces the idea that children with and without disabilities are a member of the same classroom community. It's also important to clarify that a disability is not an illness. Teachers can explain that some people are born with disabilities and some are not, and that disabilities don't spread or don't need to be fixed. An example is, Leo's brain works a little differently, so he uses pictures to help him talk. This strengths-based language reflects the teaching pyramid's focus on supporting social understanding while protecting children's dignity. Overall, these conversations, when grounded in relationships, respect, and positive guidance, help children develop empathy, reduce fear of differences, and create a classroom where everyone feels seen, valued, and included. Many well-established early childhood tools and inclusion frameworks are grounded in these same concepts: building relationships, supporting belonging, responding to behavior through understanding, and honoring individual differences. Examples include the pyramid model, conscious discipline, and the class tool, Universal Design for Learning, or UDL, and developmentally appropriate practice, or DAP, and trauma-informed and culturally responsive teaching frameworks. All of these approaches emphasize proactive relationship building, clear expectations, inclusive language, and thoughtful responses to children's questions and behaviors. Rather than being something extra, inclusive practices are embedded within the high-quality early childhood education. Later on in this presentation, we'll show you how to locate resources, tools, and training on our website that connect directly to these frameworks, so you can explore them further and apply them in your own classrooms and programs. Families enter inclusive classrooms with diverse backgrounds, experiences, and expectations, which may naturally lead to questions or concerns about how inclusion works in practice. These concerns can come from families of children with disabilities, who may seek reassurance that their child's individual needs will be met through appropriate supports, accommodations, and collaboration, as well as from families of children without disabilities, who may worry about whether inclusive practices will impact their child's academic progress or classroom experience. Building strong, trusting relationships with families requires educators to openly acknowledge these perspectives and proactively share clear, accurate information about inclusive classrooms. Trust is strengthened when educators communicate with empathy, listen to family concerns, and explain how inclusion benefits all children, academically, socially, and emotionally. Consistent, transparent communication helps families understand how instruction is differentiated, how supports are provided, and how progress is monitored for every child. When families feel informed, respected, and included as partners, they are more likely to feel confident in inclusive practices and supportive of the classroom community. Moving on from principles to practice means intentionally reassuring families through clear, consistent communication and follow-through. For families of children with disabilities, educators should clearly explain how individualized supports, accommodations, and assistance are embedded into daily classroom routines. Sharing how lesson plans are adapted, how specialists collaborate, and how progress is monitored helps families feel confident that their child will be supported and able to thrive in an inclusive environment. At the same time, it is important to directly address common misconceptions held by families of children without disabilities, particularly concerns that inclusion may cause their child to be held back. Educators can share evidence-based information showing that inclusive classroom benefits all students academically and socially, emphasizing that accommodations and modifications do not lower standards or slow learning. Instead, these strategies often enhance engagement, flexibility, and access for every learner. Reinforcing an open door policy further strengthens family partnerships. Inviting families to visit the classroom, observe routines, participate in activities, and ask questions promotes transparency and builds trust. Ongoing family engagement signals that educators value families as partners and encourages shared responsibility for student success. To support this work, children and educators can connect families to practical resources such as Beginning Together, family empowerment centers, Seeds Apart Partnership, and other tools focused on communication, trust building, and shared decision making. Links to all of these resources can be found on our resource webpage, which we will cover during the second part of this presentation. Collaboration with families, agencies, and community partners is essential to building inclusive classrooms and a positive school culture. Strong collaboration does not happen by chance. It begins with intentional, relationship-based communication supported by clear structures. The first key component of successful collaboration is communication. This starts by identifying your essential partners. For infant toddler services, this typically includes your local regional center, and for preschool-age children, your local educational agency and other related service providers. Once those partners are identified, making an initial connection is critical. A simple introduction email is an effective first step. This email can briefly share who you are, which children and families your program serves, and your shared commitment to inclusion. Including an invitation for a meet and greet, either virtual or in person, creates an opportunity to begin relationship building, learn about one another's role, and clarify how teams can work together to best support children with disabilities. After initial contact, consistency in communication is key. Ongoing meetings, monthly or bi-monthly, help maintain alignment across systems and prevent collaboration from becoming reactive or crisis-driven. These meetings can be used to share successes, address challenges, and promote problem-solve system-level issues that impact children and families. Regular communication also supports smooth transitions, such as transitions from Part C to Part B services, transitions between early learning programs, and transitions into TK through 12 settings. Inviting community partners to participate in these meetings creates opportunities to share resources, coordinate supports, and ensure families receive consistent, aligned messaging. Including all relevant representatives ensures the shared responsibility and enforces a team approach to inclusion. The second key component that supports strong collaboration for inclusion is the use of formalized agreements, such as an interagency agreement or memorandum of understanding, often referred to as an MOU. These agreements help formalize relationships and move collaboration beyond informal practices. MOUs clearly outline roles, responsibilities, and expectations among partnering agencies. These include how partners collaborate during referral processes, how information is shared, and how teams work together during IFSP or IEP development and implementation. Formal agreements also support accountability and continuity, especially when staff turnover occurs. Most early learning programs establish agreements with their local regional center to support Part C services and with their local education agency to support Part B services. Having agreements in place across both systems ensure clarity, reduces duplication of efforts, and supports seamless collaboration as children move through between service systems. The final key component is building and maintaining strong partnerships with community resources. Knowing what resources are available in your local community helps programs support children and families more holistically. Community partners may include health providers, family support agencies, nonprofits, early intervention specialists, and cultural or language-specific organizations. These partnerships can support early identification of children who may benefit from services, provide additional supports to families, and often participate in shared professional learning opportunities with early learning staff. Strong community connections also help families navigate and support systems more confidently. To support your inclusion work, Jessica will now take you through some resources.
Thanks, Nadia. Programs often struggle to fully implement inclusion due to funding and lack of resources. On the next slides, we will go through a resource walkthrough of opportunities to access amazing, free, high-quality resources and tools to support your inclusion efforts. Did you know the California Department of Education, CDE, has an inclusive early education resources webpage right at your fingertips? This webpage serves as a central hub of guidance, tools, and professional learning designed to support inclusive policies and practices in early care and education, including preschool and universal pre-kindergarten. The webpage provides clear support for serving and enrolling children with disabilities, particularly within the California State Preschool Program. One key is the frequently asked questions on serving children with disabilities in CSPP, which help programs understand requirements, expectations, and best practices for inclusion. Programs can also access guidance focused on support enrollment of children with disabilities and staying informed through the Inclusion Quarterly newsletter, which shares updates, resources, and inclusive education highlights. A standout feature of the webpage is the Inclusive Early Education Resource Matrix. This matrix connects programs to a wide range of state-supported tools and initiatives that strengthen inclusive practices. Resources featured in the matrix include the CDE Inclusion Toolkit, Beginning Together, Open Access, the California Early Childhood Special Education Network, or CalExE, and Supporting Innovative Practices, SIP. Together, these resources help administrators and educators plan, implement, and sustain inclusive early learning environments that promote access, participation, and belonging for all children. The Inclusive Early Education Resource webpage brings everything together in one place, making it easier for programs to move beyond compliance toward high-quality, inclusive systems where every child can learn and thrive. Coming up, we will highlight some of these resources, which all have links directly from the Inclusive Early Education Resource website. We're excited to introduce a new CDE resource, the P3 Inclusion Toolkit, Supporting Inclusive Preschool Practices for All Children. This is one of the several CDE toolkits available alongside resources on toileting, family and community partnerships, multilingual learners, and transitions to elementary school. We'll share a QR code at the end so you can easily access and save these tools. The Inclusion Toolkit supports a shared understanding of inclusive learning environments and helps programs develop effective local practices and policies. Key features of the toolkit include a 7-step process for developing inclusive policies, including assessing current practices, setting goals, engaging interest holders and community partnerships, and evaluating progress. An inclusive policies and practices assessment tool is also available in the toolkit. Sample communications, templates, and family collaboration supports. Transition planning tools to support entry into elementary school, with additional templates, checklists, and communication guides to support implementation. Importantly, this resource directly supports the work we've discussed around building trust, communication, and collaboration. It provides practical tools to help educators engage families with transparency and empathy, address questions and concerns, and build strong, trusting relationships. It also strengthens cross-system collaboration by guiding programs to intentionally engage key partners, such as families, regional centers, LEAs, and community organizations, and clarifies roles, responsibilities, and shared goals. This aligns with the structures we discussed, including consistent communication, regular meetings, and formal agreements like MOUs. Additionally, the toolkit supports stronger community connections by helping programs link families to local resources and create more coordinated systems of support. Overall, the Inclusion Toolkit helps move from ideas to action by providing concrete tools that strengthen relationships, collaboration, and inclusive practices, ensuring all children and families are supported across settings. Beginning Together, housed within California Inclusion, is a free statewide guidance and support approach designed to help early learning programs, especially universal pre-kindergarten, intentionally build inclusive environments from the very beginning. Rather than being a toolkit, Beginning Together provides a shared starting point for programs to align expectations, adult practices, and systems so all young children experience access, participation, and belonging. For UPK administrators and educators, Beginning Together supports inclusion by emphasizing preventative relationship-based practices that are embedded into daily routines, classroom environments, and interactions. The approach centers on helping teams proactively design environments that support social emotional development and positive behavior, reducing the need for exclusionary responses and supporting children with diverse learning and behavioral needs within the general UPK setting. Beginning Together aligns with evidence-based early childhood practices and encourages programs to start with strong foundations, clear expectations, predictable routines, supportive environments, and intentional adult responses. So inclusion is built into the program design, not added later. This makes it especially valuable for UPK programs serving children with disabilities, children with emerging self-regulation skills, and children who benefit from additional behavior supports. A key feature of Beginning Together is its direct connection to the California Teaching Pyramid. Within the Beginning Together materials, clicking the globe icon takes users to the California Teaching Pyramid website, which offers a comprehensive evidence-based framework for supporting social emotional development, preventing behaviors that challenge adults, and responding effectively when additional supports are needed. The California Teaching Pyramid site includes a wide range of free, high-quality resources for preschool and UPK programs, including classroom visuals, planning tools, family resources, implementation guides, and professional development materials. These resources help UPK coordinators and educators translate Beginning Together's foundational guidance into everyday classroom practices, strengthening inclusive environments and supporting positive outcomes for all children. Together, Beginning Together and the California Teaching Pyramid help UPK programs intentionally design early learning environments where belonging is established from day one, adult practices are aligned, and children receive the supports they need to learn and participate alongside their peers. Seeds of Partnership is a statewide California initiative dedicated to strengthening family-school collaboration to improve outcomes for children and youth with disabilities. Directed and funded by the California Department of Education, Special Education Division, and administered through the Sacramento County Office of Education, the project is an integral part of California's system of support and the CDE continuous improvement system. Seeds of Partnership supports CDE priorities connected to the State Performance Plan, SPP, under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA, by providing training, tools, and practical resources that build shared responsibility and trust between families and schools. The project serves a broad audience, including educators, administrators, families, family empowerment centers, or FECs, parent centers, young adults with disabilities, and technical assistant providers, and focuses on strengthening meaningful partnerships that lead to improved educational, social, and post-secondary outcomes for students with disabilities. Seeds of Partnership offers a comprehensive set of resources across several core areas, including family engagement materials for both educators and families, such as articles, tools, and webinars. It includes coordinated information and support for family empowerment centers, serving families for children and young adults with disabilities, and the ADR, California Special Education Resource Hub, which provides tools and guidance to help resolve disagreements early and reduce the need for formal complaint. The project also emphasizes early learning by offering preschool-specific tools, including the High-Quality Early Learning Environment, HQELE tour, a preschool planning tool, and resources addressing suspension and expulsion in preschool settings. Together, these resources highlight Seeds of Partnership's commitment to equity, prevention, early intervention, and collaboration as key drivers of improved systems and student access across California. Now we're going to share some online resources that can support you in your inclusion implementation overall. Again, these will give you opportunities to access amazing, free high-quality resources and tools to support your work. Open access California is a statewide technical assistant initiative funded by the California Department of Education and the California Collaborative for Educational Excellence, developed and supported by Placer County, CELPA. Its purpose is to help California schools and early learning programs make long-term sustainable changes so that all students have meaningful access to learning participation and belonging. Grounded in equity, open access focuses on embedding inclusive practices at every stage of implementation, with particular attention to early learning environments. The work centers on three core focus areas: universal design for learning, UDL, accessible technology, AT, and augmentative and alternative communication, or AAC. Using UDL as a framework for flexible, developmentally appropriate instruction that benefits all learners, including children with disabilities and those with complex communication needs. A key strength of open access is its wide range of free open access resources available statewide. These include curated libraries, planning templates, interactive tools, and the Early Childhood Education UDL crosswalk, which connects UDL principles directly to developmentally appropriate early childhood practices. Open Access also offers free professional learning throughout the year, including live and recorded webinars, virtual trainings, immersive learning series, self-paced courses, and access to showcase sites where educators can observe inclusive practices in action. Through collaboration, capacity building, and accessible tools and training, Open Access empowers educators and leaders to intentionally design inclusive learning environments where access, participation, and equity are built into everyday practice for every child. For early learning inclusive programs, understanding Open Access California is essential because it provides a clear research-based roadmap for creating systems that support all children from the very beginning. Early childhood settings play a critical role in identifying strengths and needs, establishing inclusive learning habits, and preventing inequities before they become entrenched. Open Access equips early learning educators and leaders with practical tools, shared language, and implementation supports that align instruction, environments, and collaboration with families and specialists. By leveraging these resources, early learning programs can build inclusive practices that are sustainable, developmentally appropriate, and responsive to the diverse needs of young children, laying a strong foundation for successful transitions into the TK-12 education and beyond. The California Early Childhood Special Education Network, or CalExE, is a statewide initiative funded by the California Department of Education to strengthen early childhood special education systems across California. A central focus of CalECSE's work is improving coordination and collaboration among the multiple agencies that serve young children with disabilities and their families. By building shared capacity, reducing silos, and promoting evidence-based practices, CalECSE helps local systems work together more effectively to reduce barriers and improve outcomes for children and families. CalECSE provides direct support to local education agencies, regional centers, and community partners, recognizing that strong early childhood systems depend on shared responsibility and alignment across agencies. This collaborative support is particularly focused on three key areas: IDEA Part C to B transitions, preschool assessment practices, and preschool child find. Through these efforts, CalECSE helps agencies align timelines, roles, and processes so that children experience smoother transitions and families receive clear, coordinated guidance. Programs can access shared tools, resources, and individualized technical assistance through geographic technical assistance facilitators and expert exemplar leads who highlight effective practices already working across California and help scale them through cross-agency collaboration. Professional learning and training are another critical component of CalECSE's work and are intentionally designed to bring multiple partners together. The network offers no-cost virtual trainings throughout the year on topics such as inclusive preschool practices, assessment strategies, family engagement, legal requirements, and data use. These sessions are open to educators, administrators, related service providers, regional center staff, and families, creating shared learning experiences that support a common understanding across systems and promote consistent, inclusive practices statewide. Cal ECSE also facilitates communities of practices that connect early childhood special education professionals regionally. These collaborative spaces allow participants from different agencies and roles to problem solve together, share resources, align practices, and learn from one another while staying informed about statewide updates and emerging best practices. By fostering ongoing communication and relationship building, communities of practice strengthen trust and coordination across systems that serve young children and families. In addition, Cal ECSE convenes an annual in-person symposium that brings together practitioners, leaders, and partners from across California for deeper learning, networking, and innovation. This event reinforces the importance of collective responsibility and cross-system collaboration in building inclusive early childhood systems that are effective, equitable, and sustainable. For early learning inclusive programs, understanding the support Cal ECSE can offer is important because inclusion does not happen within a single program or agency. It happens through coordinated systems. Early learning programs are often the first point of contact for families and play a key role in connecting education, regional centers, service providers, and community supports. Cal ECSE provides the structure, shared language, and collaborative tools needed to align these partners, improve transitions, and ensure consistent, high-quality inclusive practices. By leveraging Cal ECSE resources and networks, early learning programs can strengthen interagency collaboration, reduce duplication and confusion for families, and create seamless, inclusive experiences that better support young children with disabilities and their families. Supporting Innovative Practices, or SIP, is a statewide technical assistance and initiative funded by the California Department of Education's Special Education Division. SIP supports inclusive universal pre-kindergarten systems across California by helping early learning programs, preschool inclusive preschool, and UPK, design environments where all young children, including children with disabilities, belong and thrive. For preschool administrators and educators, SIP focuses on building belonging in UPK classrooms from the start, recognizing that inclusion is most effective when it is intentionally designed early. SIP emphasizes that special education is a service, not a place, supporting the integration of special education services within general UPK settings through collaborative service delivery, inclusive instructional practices, and equitable access for all learners. A major benefit of SIP is it's free. UPK relevant webinars, trainings, and inclusion resources available statewide. These open access resources include live and recorded professional learning toolkits and guidance on topics such as universal design for learning, inclusive behavior supports, co-teaching, and designing high-quality early learning environments that promote participation for every child. SIP also promotes developmentally appropriate inclusive preschool practices through free virtual trainings, communities of practice, and an annual virtual inclusion conference, all designed to be immediately applicable to UPK and preschool settings. Together, these opportunities build leadership capacity for sustainable UPK inclusion, empowering educators and administrators to create systems where equity, belonging, and access are embedded into everyday practice for young children. For early learning inclusive programs, understanding SIP and its resources is helpful because inclusive UPK depends on strong collaboration within programs and classrooms. SIP supports teams, general educators, special educators, service providers, and administrators in working together to intentionally design inclusive environments and to integrate services into daily routines. By strengthening collaboration at the program level, SIP helps early learning settings move from isolated inclusive practices to cohesive systems where belonging, access, and equity are part of everyday instruction. Now you will see our inclusion resource slide. The first QR code on the left is for our Inclusion Resource Padlet that includes several resources shared or mentioned in this webinar, as well as the Inclusion webinar and others. The second QR code on the right will take you to the CDE, California Department of Education, Inclusion Resource website, where you will find all of the websites we discussed previously, as well as a wealth of information, including FAQs, Inclusion quarterly newsletters, and the Inclusion Resource Matrix. We want to thank you all again for watching this webinar. If you have any questions or need support with your inclusion program, please don't hesitate to email us at inclusionsupport@cde.ca.gov. We are truly passionate about inclusion, and we want to support all of you with your journey, your own journey in inclusion, wherever you are currently at.